Hey guys, Dissection Violence here. We're gonna get right into it. UFC London Aspinall versus Tybura. Wow, interesting card. Can't complain. No other way to start it off but with Jafel Filho versus Daniel Barez. Okay, so the thing with Barez, he fought in the Contender Series against Carlos Hernandez in a really close fight that I thought he won. Um, he didn't end up getting a contract, so unfortunately, he hasn't been able to go fight in the UFC. And for most of his prime, he's been on the regional scenes. But the thing about Dan Perez that I really like is that he's just so powerful. He has nice calf kicks, and João Fila doesn't deal well with calf kicks. He's got good power. He's got good power. Like I said, good grappling, fast, technical. He's a bit of he's evasive at times. Like I really liked Perez. He's a finisher. Whereas I like Philo as well, just for different reasons. I feel Philo is he's experienced as well, not as, but I think he's experienced. He's got that dog in him. When need be. Um, he does. Okay, so I'm gonna contradict myself here because at times he does like when it's too hard on him, he does quit. He did quit to a neck crank, so he does like dog fights, and he fought with a debilitated calf with Ashmoz finishing him. So I think Jafel Filo is very dangerous. He's got nice kicks, very nice hands. He's good has good footwork. The thing about him though is he's content on his back, and that's where I think Barez is going to find a lot of success. Um, I'm leaning Filho, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Barez wins this. But yeah, moving on. We have Bruno Brazil taking on Shanna Bannon. So Shannon Bannon. She is a karate champion or kickboxing champion. She has fought no one, not the greatest of grappling, not terrible grappling, no boxing, struggles in the clinch. She's got nice kicks. That's about it. This is her hardest test, facing someone like Bruno, who in my opinion has, you know, already faced someone really, really tough in the UFC. Even though it didn't go her way, I do think she's going to come into this with a better mindset. I think she's going to come into this one strong. She is in enemy territory a little bit, but I do think she's going to use it as motivation. And I do see Bruno Brazil picking up the win here. I see her winning by late stoppage or unanimous decision. Moving on, we have Ashmoz taking on Chris Duncan. Now again, I was torn with this fight as well. Um, Duncan has a death touch, but so does look, but I feel like Duncan's death touch is better, whereas Yanel's is cleaner. He's got nice low kicks, experience, okay chin, fails him at times, but he still stays in there. Like the fight with Charlie Campbell was absolutely insane. Nice feints, cage wrestling, good gym, American Top Team, training with Grant Dawson, Dustin Poirier. He's got good training partners. I feel like he's working with the right guys. Could Ashmouz catch him early? Yeah, but Ashmouz, I've known him for a while since he's been fighting for CFFC. He is not someone you want to bet on. He is just not reliable. I feel like he doesn't fight well off the back foot. He is not a great, let's just say, like his cardio isn't great, so he's not a great like long distance runner. This is a term used for in the fight game. I do think Duncan wins this, just off being the smarter fighter, having more tools to win this fight. but it will be an interesting fight, especially in that first round. But yeah, moving on. We have Ketlin Vieira taking on Pannie Kianzad. Um, Interesting fight. Ketlin. She's got a nice clinch. Big girl. Boxing heavy. Moves her head sometimes. Long reach. Okay kicks and knees. Experienced, aggressive, down to scrap. She's fighting a girl who I'll get into her point in a second, but the thing about Ketlin is she's not a great nail, and I'm interested because Panny likes to scrap it out, and I'm interested to see how Vieira deals with the Muay Thai of Kianzad. She's got brick hips too, so when she gets taken down, she doesn't get back up. Her cardio is not that great, but she has done 5 rounds, so I think as far as cardio, she should be all right. She'll be the bigger girl, so I think she's going to be leaning on Panny the whole fight, looking to stall. Um, yeah, I think Caitlin Vieira wins by unanimous decision just from controlling her against the cage, winning the positions, maybe finding the occasional takedown. She's got some decent boxing kicks. She's a purple belt at best, but she's down to scrap. Like I said, she gets pushed up against the cage too much. Wrestling isn't great and slows down a little bit. So I'm gonna go with Vieira here, but don't put the house on her. Just chill. This isn't a fight you want to touch. Moving on, we have Brian Barberena versus Mahmoud Muradov at middleweight. Brian Barberena is not a middleweight. He is not. No, he is not a middleweight. Brian, he's a dirty boxer. Nice. He's got some pretty good cardio when not forced to grapple too much. Decent chin, clinch game, like elbows for days. Um, Decent footwork. He's down to scrap. Goes to the body, which you don't see a lot. Macmard, on the other hand, is extremely explosive, athletic, dangerous in round one. Whereas he slows down a bit later on in the fight. Um, he's mean. He's got nice kicks. Tough, or not tough. Sorry. He's got power in those hands. Decent grappling. I think he has more tools to win this. This is the Murata fight. I don't see him losing this unless he gets tired. Going for a finish, but I think Murata wins this fight. Brian Barberena is not a middleweight, and I don't know how that will go tax on his cardio or if it will help his cardio. So I'm gonna go on Muradov, but if he does not finish Barberena after live one, look for the live spot because Barberena is a live dog for sure. Moving on, we have Jamal Pogues versus Mick Parkin. Now to start this, I was looking at Mick Parkin, and now looking at the odds, you gotta just ride with Pogues. Pogues is the better fighter. He has better striking, better wrestling, better jiu-jitsu. He's better everywhere. But the thing about Mick Parkin is the reason why people are taking Jamal Pogues is his last fight. Everyone thinking, "Oh man, he gassed out so bad." That wasn't the case. He had a broken hand, and he was trying to deal with that. I think the guy he will get exposed eventually, but I just don't like this fight for Mick Parkin. Against a guy with maybe not the grappling pedigree of Pogues, I would maybe be more inclined to take him. But at plus 210, I had to, but at these odds, you have to ride with Pogues. I'm gonna be on Pogues here, and probably gonna parlay him too, and get some arbitrage going. But yeah, we're on Pogues here. I think he's just the side. Parkin is just I don't know. Boxing doesn't seem comfortable. Most of it's counter boxing. I just feel like Pogues is too slick with his boxing. He's quick, athletic. I feel like he's still not a heavyweight. He's a big boy, but he's not a heavyweight. Um, I don't know. The way he hits people, like really, like it's a sign that his hands are breaking. Maybe it's the sign, but I don't know. What am I to say? Jamal Pogues, I have winning this fight, but he could, this is in London, could go either way. I'm going with Pogues. Moving on, we have Joel Alvarez taking on Mark Diakiese. Mark Diakiese, man, he's experienced. He started out as a striker, heavy, only striker. Now he's got great wrestling. grinding it out at a Great Britain top team. I do think he is in for a tough fight here. I just think the stylistic matchup with Joel Alvarez is going to be a lot for him. Do I think there's a live hammer spot for Mark Diakiese? Yes. After round one, I do like Diakiese. But it also depends how Alvarez finishes round one. If it's a dominate round one, you might want to just chill out for a bit. But Diakiese is has improved tremendously in the grappling aspect, working on his wrestling. I think he can stay out of danger past the first round. But in that first round, I think taking him down would be a mistake. But it is what it is with this fight. I'm gonna go on Joao Alvarez, but this is definitely a fight that like is confusing for sure. Um, I like Alvarez, his Muay Thai. He's a bit hittable. He's a bit hittable, but I do like his style. It's very aggressive, come forward, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with his style. So it'll be interesting to see how Mark deals with it. Moving on, we have Johnny Parsons taking on Danny Roberts. Johnny Parsons. I like Johnny Parsons. He's got he's got great high level striking, Muay Thai. Um, very heavy hands, foot sweeps. Um, man, it's the thing about the thing about Parsons though is he has good urgency. He pushes his butt to the cage when he gets up. He shows lots of good things. He's a smart fighter. He won't quit on himself. Um, but the thing about him is he's not a grappler. He's stiff at times as well and brick hips. He's not old. He's actually the younger one of the two. Um, but I just worry about the weight cut. I worry how Park Roberts this is his home. Um, I do think Parsons wins, but it's a fight that I am not very confident in. I am gonna probably look to arbitrage. If not, I'm going to just ride it out. But I'm gonna take Parsons here, but not screaming it from the rooftops. Um, I just think Roberts has more tools to win. Moving on, we have Daniel Marcos versus Davy Grant. Davy Grant, he is. Everyone's like he's old. He's old. I agree. But the thing with Davy Grant is he's slick. He's slick for how ugly his striking is. He's got nice calf kicks. He's experienced, good kicks in general. Power in his hands. He cheats a lot, so he's crafty. Down to scrap. He fights at such a high pace it breaks his opponent. Marco is very clean, very precise with his striking. Not as active with his striking for sure. I do think Grant's if he doesn't get finished in that first round, somehow I do think Grant has a good chance of winning this because he just outpoints his opponents. Whereas if Marcos doesn't really damage Grant, I don't think he can outpoint Grant. But I do think Marcos is definitely the more talented striker. I just think Marcos hasn't really fought anyone yet. This is his toughest challenge. He's in enemy territory. I just really like this fight for Grant. Or no, sorry. I think this is a Grant fight, but I could be wrong here. Marcos could come in and make me look silly. I'm gonna go with Grant here, but it's a tricky card. I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot trickier than last week. At first glance, I thought it was easy. There's a few parlay spots, but I'm gonna look more at that tomorrow. But yeah, I got Danny Grant here. Um, yeah, as far as Marcos goes, his chin's high, so that body head combo is gonna be there for Grant if he hits it. And his cardio isn't amazing, and he's lost to worse guys, so. I don't know, guys. I'm on Grant here, but I wouldn't be surprised with Marcos winning. Moving on, Lerone Murphy taking on Josh Culibao. So Josh Culibao, he's gotten a lot slimmer. He's looking really ripped for this fight camp. so that means good cardio. Power in his hands, good scrambles, scrapper, good footwork, feints. He's slick, decent grappling, cardio, good team behind him. The thing with him though, his hands are down because he gets too confident sometimes. He falls over his punches sometimes. His wrestling isn't amazing, and he's a bit hittable. So I think Lerone Murphy's gonna have a lot of success on the feet, but I just don't think it. I don't know how long it will last. I do think if Lerone Murphy wins, it's round one and two, but I do think Culibao wins round three. So I'm gonna lean Culibao, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Murphy win this at all. This is a close fight though. Moving on, we have Fares Ziam versus Jai Herbert. So Fares uses jab well, good evasiveness, good striking, fast. He trains at a decent gym in Killcliff. Nice counters, decent wrestling, throws, pretty clean on the feet. The thing with him is he's chinny. He got subbed by McKinney. Man, it sounds like I'm making a song. Lost. He leans way too far back when he's trying to evade sometimes. I just think Herbert, man, like I don't know if he's the guy to make him pay for that, but I do think Herbert's the guy to mix in the wrestling, mix in the points, the cage work. I think Herbert's gonna find a lot of success here. It's his home as well, so the crowd's gonna go nuts for everything he does. I'm gonna go with Herbert here, but this isn't again a not confident prediction. I was confident when I made the bet, but now when I'm thinking now about it, I'm not so confident. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Herbert here, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him winning. He looks really good in his last fight. Moving on, we have Andre Muniz taking on Paul Craig. Now, I do think Paul Craig has a chance if Muniz gasses out, but that's a big if because I don't think Paul Craig has the capability to push that high pace anymore. How old is Paul Craig? He is getting up there in age. He is 35 years old. He is not pushing any high pace anymore. I think he's going to be standing there, getting leg kicked, getting boxed out. I think he's old. I think he's slow. His chin's very bad. He pulls guard. I just think this is an Andre Muniz fight. Whether he stays on top and just, wins a decision or knocks him out early. I think this is an Andre Muniz fight. I think he's better everywhere. Um, I'm not saying lock, but I'm just saying I'm pretty confident in Andre Muniz here. Moving on, we have Nathaniel Wood taking on Andre Fili. Andre Fili, he is trained by a good team at Team Alpha Male under Danny Castillo. He has Mike Malott in his corner. Good striking, nice right hand, good grappling, good takedown defense. Good jiu-jitsu for the most part. Cons with him is he's a bit square, chinny. He's a bit of an underachiever as well. Never really matched his potential. Inconsistent and never could get past the high level guys. That's the thing with Nathan Wood. He is a high level fighter. Um, and at featherweight, it allows him to be a little more powerful as well. He was rocking Jourdain, so I feel like if you could rock Jourdain, you could hurt Fili as well. He's very talented, good grappling, smart, very smart fighter, extremely technical, well-rounded, good coach, good striking, good cardio, good sweeps with his foot sweeps. Thing with him though is he's hittable, and his head kick defense isn't always the greatest, which Fili has nice head kicks, so you can capitalize on that. Um, he's undersized as well for featherweight, so he's going to be pretty small compared to Fili. The thing with Fili, I do think plus 3-5 is the best play for Fili because I do think he wins one round, but I don't think he wins this fight. I think Wood has just too many ways to win this fight. I'm gonna go with Wood here. He's good, man. Moving on, we have Molly McCann taking on Julia Stoliarenko. I was thinking back, like, man, Julia's terrible. But I watched a little bit of film. She has a nice wrestling in that first round. I think if she gets Molly down and she transitioned to her armbar, I think it's a wrap. So I'm gonna definitely look for Stoliarenko by armbar props. But as far as Stoliarenko money line, I think the ship sailed for that. It's Molly McCann right now. I don't see Stoliarenko dealing with being a nail like with Molly being the hammer very well. I think Molly gets her out of there in the first round via TKO. But again, Stoliarenko's gas is also not good, so round two even. So yeah, this should be the exit fight for Stoliarenko unless Molly McCann screws this up somehow. Yeah, Molly McCann, she falls over herself. She's very clumsy. She's wild. This could be very bad for her, but I think if she stays within herself to just some extent, she'll win this fight any day of the week. But yeah, moving on. We have Tom Aspinall versus Marcin Tybura. Bottom. I'm not even gonna spend too much on the time of this breakdown. I'm just gonna say if as long as Aspinall's knee is the same as it was before, like he's not gonna be a lesser version. This is his fight every day of the week. End of story. Moving on. We're gonna go to the top five most confident predictions. So number one, I would have to say, Aspinall would have to be number one. Number two, say Molly McCann. Number two. Number three, hmm, I'm gonna go Duncan. Number three. Um, um, Bruno Brazil. Number four. Number five. Let's go with Andre Muniz. I think that's a good number five. All right, guys, like, subscribe. You know the drill. I'll post a timestamp sometime in the morning. But until then, I do.